it's been a hell of a day for us for TVOP. We had a great interview earlier this morning.
Yep.
Speaking of morning time, I had several people, I think it was like 2 or 3 people that talked to me and was like, hey, did you see the rain last night? I was like, I had no freaking clue. I was knocked out. And here you are. It's hoodie season, so I know you're super excited about that.
I got up this morning, took out the trash, and I was like, oh, it's kind of crispy outside.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's hoodie season already. I looked at the forecast, and I was like, oh, mornings are high 50s, low 60s. I was like, yeah, it's hoodie season. Fall is officially here.
It is.
And I know that because the fall is my wife's favorite season.
Yeah.
So she's all about pumpkin decorations and all that stuff. So fall is here.
It's a beautiful time of the year. For me, I always kind of go back to when I was at Vanderbilt in Nashville, and one of the things that I absolutely love is the turning of the seasons and like the leaves changing, and it's just so like beautiful up in Nashville in that area. But yeah, so I like anytime we kind of get into this October time frame, for me it just brings back those memories, and obviously the State Fair of Texas, which just kicked off 2 weeks ago or a week ago, and football is full and in effect, right?
It's that perfect time too, where it's not deathly hot outside, but it's not cold, so like you're no longer tired during the game, like you can just play.
Yeah, and you just broke something down for me right before we hit
something that
action.
I really do. I ate red meat today.
What?
So like I dropped my daughter off at school about 7:30 every morning.
Uh-huh.
And literally I get back to the house, it's 7:45. Check in with my wife, see if there's anything I need to be doing in the house before I get started.
Mm-hmm.
She was chilling today. And I literally been working all day until I got in the car and drove down here. But when I was going to pick my daughter up from school today, I was starving. I realized I hadn't eaten. I was like, I got to get something. Like it's 35 minutes. I was like, okay, I can go sit and wait in line. Like, or I was like, I can go get something to eat. I thought, what's close to the house?
No, I've been to the house, and shout out to Tam Tam because she keeps a stock fridge.
Yes.
I know y'all got food in the house, bro.
Yes, but it was just I was just working, and I was like, okay, if I do this right, I can just run and go get something, quote unquote, fast food and get back in line. I went to Wendy's today for the first time in a long time, and I actually ate a hamburger.
Come on back.
I don't feel weird.
Come on
at
back.
the moment.
Yeah, at the moment.
Well, we'll see how tomorrow goes.
So people probably don't realize this, right? Like it's been a minute. Like
I quit red meat at 17.
Yeah.
Long story short, I had a relative who scared me off of it, told me about the dangers of it, and I basically quit at 17. What else?
You quitter.
Whatever. Call me what you want. My body feels good.
Well, yeah, because you had red meat today.
Whatever. But yeah, so I had a hamburger today for the first time, and who knows, man? I couldn't tell you. I mean, I went to Wendy's, right? I didn't go to like McDonald's, and nothing against them.
Oh yeah, clearly Wendy's is way better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. Another episode.
You didn't even get a flame broiled.
There's not a Burger King close to my house.
Yeah, it's still a frozen patty.
It's like a 12, 15-minute drive from my house.
Uncle Dave is happy
time
with
during
you.
School zone time.
Uncle Dave is happy with you.
All gravy. Let's get to it, Chief.
So listen, in all seriousness, as we kind of flip into the fourth quarter, a lot of people don't realize this, but this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and as fathers of 3 girls, both of us are girl dads. I felt like it was incumbent upon us to really talk about the effects of domestic violence and what that looks like. So we are very honored to have someone step into the lab with us today. But before we get started, welcome back to the Vision Lab podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Cuffey, alongside with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Mosley. The Vision Lab is the official growth mindset podcast for all visionaries worldwide. And we're showing mad love to the cigar community. It's here in the lab where we uncover people's visions and dreams and how those dreams actually come into reality. Folks, it's all about tapping into and becoming the absolute best version of ourselves through self-examination, self-discovery, and self-actualization. Mo, who do we have on the show today?
Cuff, today's guest is a native of Greensboro, Georgia. She has lived all over the world, as we'll find out. She is a vice president for an oil and gas company. She's a certified life coach. She is a co-host of her own podcast called The Crude Truth. Please welcome the wonderful Kristy Kerns to the Vision Lab podcast.
Hey. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
Amazing. You?
Oh, I'm grateful.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. This is really a big treat. We met about 6 weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago at this point. Shout out to Will Harris. He's obviously been a guest in the podcast arena with us. He's also someone that I work with very closely and a really close friend of mine. So very grateful for him to help us make this introduction and help to make this happen. So I'm super excited. We had a chance to talk a couple of weeks ago, and your story is just whoa.
Interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, it's a roller coaster, right? And so before we really even get going, I just want to say I'm so super proud of you, right? And we just met, right? Like, I'm tremendously proud of who you are and everything that you've overcome, everything that you've had to deal with. I say that in the sense that people need to understand that, like, life happens. And I was having this conversation about 6 weeks to a month ago. Life be lifing sometime,
Oh yeah.
right? And sometimes we kind of feel like we're on this path or this road of where life be lifing too much to one specific individual, right? And so you've managed to stick it out. You're obviously very healthy, very well-spoken and everything else. And so I just want to say congratulations, great job, proud of you. That's amazing. But I think people are really going to love this story. So
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for being who you are. So let's jump into it, right? Sure. Let's go all the way back to about 15 years old. Okay. So talk to our visionaries. Those are the people that rock with us since day one. That they support the show.
Sure.
You're 15 years old. Something monumental in your life happens.
Very monumental. I remember my dad's wife told me to get off the phone, and I didn't listen to her. So he comes in and basically tells me I need to pack my stuff and get out.
Your dad?
My dad.
Your father?
My father. And I didn't believe him at first, but yes, I had to leave. So I packed what I could, and I literally left my house and went to a girlfriend's house, and I never went home again.
So pause. People are going to hear this, sure, and they're going to say, okay, no one's going to ask their child to leave just for simply being on the phone. So you got to give us a little background as to why this was an apex moment in both of your lives, for that matter.
I didn't respect his wife at the time. She was not my mother. Obviously, I had a mother, and she was trying to be the motherly role. Okay. So she wanted me to get off the phone. I didn't want to get off the phone. He basically bonded with her, I guess we'll say, and just said that since you're not respecting my wife, it's time for you to go.
Oh, wow. So as a daughter, because we both have daughters, I have two, he has one. What are the emotions? What are the thoughts? What are the feelings that you're experiencing in that moment? If
Obviously,
you can remember
at first, I was happy. I did not care for this woman at the time.
You're happy to leave?
I wanted to be out of her. Yeah, I wanted to be out of her circumstance, anything to do with her. Then reality sets in the next day, and okay, well, how do you go to school? You're in college. How do you do this? How do you function? I don't have any clothes. I have nothing. So obviously the depression set in, the sadness. I spoke with my dad. Obviously you don't want me to come back, but I need you to transfer my records to finish high school to a different school. He said, no, I'm not doing that. So what do you do? I did not graduate from high school at that time. I actually put myself through cosmetology school.
Okay.
And so I got my cosmetology license, and I started working at Glamour Shots. That shows how old I am.
Hey, I know about Glamour Shots.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever taken any, but I certainly know about it. And you remember they were in the mall.
Yeah.
Do people even remember what the mall?
Basketball players I had coming to Glamour Shots,
Yeah.
so that was
Had
cool.
those ridiculous poses and all that.
Yeah.
stuff.
What was Claire's?
Yes,
So you would go
Claire.
get your ears pierced over at Claire's and probably go
run down the
Go get your hair and
Lord.
makeup done.
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. So, man, that's crazy. You're 15, 16 years old. You're out on your own. I'm curious, where's mom in the picture?
So my mother and father obviously divorced.
Right.
My mother lived in Georgia. She moved back to Georgia at the time. I didn't want to. I had my friends. I had everything. I didn't want to uproot and go. So I just sucked it up. And
What does that look like? I mean, there's so many negative pathways that you could have taken. You could have ended up on the in the street, are on the streets. You can end up in, clubs and things like that. Like, it is what it is, right?
Yeah,
like
it is what
how, and I don't know, like, did you or?
I didn't tap into the drugs. I basically was like, I can do this. So I have had a great source of friends, we'll say older friends. I had somebody that took me under their wing. She let me move in with her while I went to school. Once I started working, I got my own apartment, and I just was like, I got this. I got me. I have to take care of me. There's nobody else I can rely on, and let's do this. And I learned as going how to be an adult.
Wow, that's crazy. That's great. And what I love about her story, Mo, is that it permeates across all of the country, right? And really all the world. Like, it is a story of perseverance and a story of betting on yourself. And then we're going to hear that theme kind of throughout these next, 60 minutes or what have you. And so now you've done cosmetology school, and you're doing hair and all this stuff, doing the glamour shots. Like, what happens next?
So then I obviously, like I said, the manager and I, we became great friends. We got an apartment, ended up moving together. I met a gentleman who was actually a counselor for our young kids, which is interesting. Why did I tap into that or connect to that was interesting. And I started dating this gentleman.
It's interesting that you're using the word gentleman.
Yeah, I'm just going to be polite.
Okay.
This man, we'll say, this older man, older than obviously I was.
And how old were you about this time?
18.
Okay, so you're 18. You're legal.
18, yeah. Okay. I'm legal by now, yeah. So an older gentleman, older men, whatever you want to call him, got into this relationship with him and foresaw a future at least, but tapping into it, maybe this was daddy issues that, we all seem to have when you're abandoned.
Yeah.
The gentleman that I dated for, 3 years was actually an abusive man. I didn't know that at first because it was all beautiful at the time, but I started getting slight little abuses.
What does that mean? Let's break it down for our visionaries. What's a slight abuse?
Sound like a microaggression.
Like a little smack, or, why'd you do that, little aggression, stuff like that. Once that started, I was like, I don't understand, I didn't do anything wrong. And then it progressed to, this is going way back. We were doing Habitat for Humanity. We were building roofs in Miami, and I don't remember what I did, but something didn't line up with the shingles, and he actually punched me on my face.
Oh, wow.
And I still have a scar here, and it's my battle wound, and I'll keep it, and knocked one of my teeth out. And
wow.
His mother was
in front of people?
Oh, yeah, in front of people. And nobody said anything.
Nobody said anything?
No.
We need to come back to that.
Yeah, we will come back to that. So I remember getting on the bus after that with everybody there, and his mother was there as well. And I'm bleeding, it's bleeding. And I just walked by and looked at her, and I remember giving her this look, and she didn't say anything.
Was the look like, save me, help me?
I gave the look of save me.
It's like, a distress signal.
Yeah, and nothing came of it. Obviously, I was scared, but didn't know any different when it came to being in that type of relationship, and it continued to get progressively worse. Then I would get kicked in my, ribs, abandoned, left on the streets. He broke my ribs. Gosh.
So you're what, 18, 19, early 20s, somewhere in that phase.
Yes.
So this is really your first experience of love, right? Like, to me, and what I want to get into, like, the psyche of someone that suffered from domestic violence, but, like, I'm imagining that, hey, daddy issues in terms of my dad choosing his wife over me.
Yep.
Now I'm out for the next 3 years, just trying to figure out life. And then I meet this guy, and that's kind of the first resemblance of love. Is that what I'm hearing?
You're exactly on it. Yes. Obviously, I'm not afraid to admit it. Yes, I had abandonment issues, and then
but you say abandonment, and I just want to push back just a little bit, only because I know our audience, right? You say abandonment, but you left.
But I was abandoned by my father.
But you left.
But he told me to leave.
But you could have stayed.
No, he told me to get out.
He was like, get out.
He was like, get out.
Oh, no, I was not allowed
so you
to
couldn't,
stay.
you couldn't.
I could not stay.
Okay.
No,
so
I wanted to obviously not be in the presence of his wife. subconsciously, but no, he told me I had to leave. There was no staying.
Wow.
So I was
can't
abandoned by
imagine
my
that, bro.
father.
Yeah, we both got little girls.
Yeah,
It's
I just-
she will always have a place to sleep
Yeah,
as long as I'm
that's-
alive.
100%.
Which is interesting. I have 2 younger sisters that they did not, and
Were they conforming?
they, just basically they were younger and they stayed. I mean, they stayed with my father until many years ago.
They ain't know any better.
Well, they didn't get kicked out.
Well, but were they conforming to?
No, my one sister broke my dad's wife's nose. I mean, it was. That's,
Well, I know you were happy about that.
Nope, I don't. Karma's a bitch. I don't say anything. Nope.
Okay, so thank you again for being so
Of course.
honest and it means everything to us and to our audience. So you're in Florida at this point?
Yes.
Okay, Miami, right?
No, Orlando.
Orlando, excuse me. And so you guys did the Habitat for Humanity deal. You're building the house
Miami,
in
yes.
Miami, and you're looking at your boyfriend's mother, like giving her the distress signal, and she gives you a blind eye. I think it's important, and there's your camera right there. If you can talk to our visionaries and anyone that's suffering or dealing with domestic violence situations, on how important it is for them to seek help from the right people, because she wasn't the right person.
No, she was not. It's so important because if I would have sought help from the proper person at that time, I would not have had to put through a couple more years of the even more abusive relationship that was happening to me versus, like I said, it getting kicked out, abandoned on the streets, ribs broken, you name it. And not everybody's going to be pro you because they are going to defend or not believe your story. But if you find the right person, it's very important, and you need to seek that out.
This is not an excuse,
No.
but we do know American history, and Mo's a history buff, but we know historically it's taken us a long time to kind of move this needle to hearing the victims of domestic violence, right? For a long time, it was kind of swept under the rug. People didn't believe you or whatever it was, right? Or, and this is not my belief, I'm just going to say it, but like maybe she deserved it, right? Maybe she needed to get in line or whatever that, because that ideology, that philosophy, that thought process existed.
Of course.
So, and what I'm really getting at is during this phase or time in history, that was kind of a known thing, or like, is that why you didn't feel comfortable or confident to seek additional help?
I didn't know any better, honestly. I'm a young girl. I only know from the age of 15 on what a man is supposed to do, and the man that was supposed to lead me and guide me,
That's so powerful.
let me go.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, and so
your
is
whole
this normal?
Foundation is broken.
Yeah.
Is this normal? I have no idea. I didn't know. I just know that obviously for somebody to hurt somebody, it's not normal in my eyes. Like, I'm not an aggressive person. I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. Like, that's not, but maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe that's what he did.
Maybe you're wrong.
Yeah, maybe this is the way that relationships are supposed to be. Especially, my mother was a go to work, come home, cook dinner, makeup on, that type of person. I don't know. The old days, we'll say.
So when this is happening, mom's in Georgia.
Yes.
And you're in Florida, which isn't far.
No.
Are you reaching out to her? Do you have conversations with her? Like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, or what was the?
Yeah, she knew that my dad and his wife did that. I chose, like I said, to stay. I wanted to stay and see if I could do this. She did not want me to stay and asked me to come home. She knew about the abuse. Once it got a little bit more in depth, that's when she just says, you have to figure this out. And so I strategically planned my escape.
Okay. I want to get to your escape.
Yes.
But I want to understand, and I want people to understand psychologically, okay? Now, we're going to remove dad. We're going to remove the abuser, the second abuser, right? Like, what are you going through mentally? What are you going through emotionally? What are you going through spiritually? Like, can you kind of walk our visionaries through that and paint that picture?
Mentally, like, my worth is, who am I? And why is this person hurting me? They're supposed to love me. Spiritually, I was not spiritual at the time. I was raised Baptist, but at that moment, obviously not going to church. I think that would be super helpful if I was. I just really struggled with, I wanted this person to accept me and to love me. Why can't a man love me is what I struggled with. Why are they wanting to hurt me and get rid of me and push me and stuff like this? That's really what was in my head. I didn't understand that it had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with that abuser. That person hurting me was not my problem. I allowed it, but I didn't know any better. And that's really what it boiled down to. Like I said, I mean, I'm a young adult, but I'm still a child.
Yeah,
I didn't
for
get
sure.
to mature the proper way.
Yeah. You didn't get the prom and the high school boyfriend
I never went to
and
prom, no.
and the college experience and all this stuff. Yeah, so I think a lot of times we take it for granted, right? That it's a natural progression of life. That you've got high school, then college, and those are our formative years where we're growing, we're learning, and so much happens within that, we'll call it 8-year span, that really like catapults and pushes you out for on who you are,
Yeah,
right?
to adulthood in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. The way it's supposed to be, right?
Yes.
And you didn't have that opportunity.
No, I skipped all those years and went from a little girl to just reaching puberty to now a young adult to, oh my gosh, here I am.
Yeah, and then you're dealing with, physical altercations and domestic violence.
So you mentioned the word escape, and I'm sitting here listening to it. It's like, wow, at 20, 21 years old, probably at that point in time, you're like, okay, I got to plan an escape. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what was I doing at 20, 21 years old? And the thought of, quote unquote, having to escape a situation is like, wow. So what was your rock bottom moment when you decided, okay, Kristy, like I gotta go?
That was after he kicked me in the ribs for the last time. And I remember being buckled like this and kicked me in the ribs, and I cried and cried and cried, and then I just said, it's time.
So you get through that night, you get through that episode.
No, that day.
Excuse me. What does it look like to say, okay, it's time to go, I'm going to escape? Like, do you say, okay, let me get a bag and pack up? Like what does that look like?
Well, obviously, I was like, okay, today's the day. So I called my manager at the time, and I said, come get me at this time. I'm going to pack up basically two black garbage bags full of my clothes. That's it. Left a beautiful house, you name it. My cat, my 2 dogs, everything. And I literally was like, come pick me up. I remember him arguing with me, trying to not let me go. And I literally took my bags, shoved them in. She had a little CRX. God, that's it.
A Honda CRX.
Yeah. Put my bags in that car, and we drove off. And
he's there.
Oh, yeah. He literally watched me leave. She came in and helped me carry my bags and left because he wouldn't hurt me in front of her. So that's why I had her come pick me up. But he didn't know I was leaving with her, in a sense. I kind of just, okay, well, you want me to leave, you don't want me to leave, okay, I'll pack my stuff, that type of thing. And once I got in the car, it was like I laughed so hard.
What?
And I think it was just like every emotion possible that came over me, and cried and everything. And I remember us getting to her house, and water beds were back in. She tickled me so hard, and I cried and I laughed, and it was like my healing journey started.
You just got kicked in the ribs.
Yep.
You're in a fetal position. Call the friend.
Yep.
Or the manager.
Yep.
She picks you up and you're laughing.
I'm laughing because I'm free, not because of what happened. That moment didn't care. I'm free. I'm free from this. Like, this will never happen again to me.
So here's what's interesting about the way that the body and the brain works, right? You have enough, I don't even know the scientific or proper word to...
Endorphins, basically.
Endorphins, right? To not even feel said pain,
Nope.
but to really elevate to a point of laughter.
I was on
the
a high.
adrenaline of it all.
I was on an
That's
adrenaline
crazy.
high from, everything
Like,
that happened.
that's the body, like, hey, we're free, we can take a deep breath, like, let's shed all of this.
And literally it was like,
Well, and again, I'm not a scientific person or anything like that, but I know that when you are in a fight or flight mode, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
the body does certain things that we don't even know it's capable
How
of
possible.
doing, right? And so you're going through this physical altercation with your partner at that time, and getting kicked in the ribs and et cetera. I'm imagining, and maybe you can help dispel or confirm, that, you just kind of black out or at least go into some type of space?
It's, I would say meditation. You go into like this space where it's not, you're neutral. Like, I don't know how I would get there, but I would just go there and I would just receive and then come out.
Okay. That's super deep. That's super deep. And thank you so much for sharing that, because this had to have happened on multiple occasions,
yes.
right? This isn't like the first time. The first time is probably more shock.
Sure.
Can you kind of talk about, like, was that first time at Habitat for Humanity?
That was the first full blow. Other than it would just be like snapping, little things like that.
Yeah.
But that was actually first impact of hard impact.
So, and then it, like you said before, it progressively got worse.
Yes.
So these are multiple instances, multiple incidents that have taken place.
Yes.
And you've at this point, you've gotten to the point where now the body just kind of goes into like a natural survival mode, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Visionaries are going to ask, why did you stay after the second time? Like, maybe the first time, okay, people make mistakes, it is what it is. Like, we'll get over it. But then you stayed, and then number 2 happens, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5. Like, I don't know how many times, and you don't certainly have to share that. Mm-hmm. But like, why did you stay?
I try to vision myself back then because I could say why I stayed now. But back then, I don't know why I stayed. Maybe being scared or just not feeling unworthy of not that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't know any better. I would probably say me as who I am now. Why did I stay? I know, because I felt unworthy. Because I've done the healing work in this. I was unworthy. I wanted to be loved. I'd sacrifice myself just to be loved and be accepted and received.
Incredible.
Indeed. So you make the great escape, if you will.
Yes.
And you hit the reset button.
I did.
Tell us about the second time you hit the reset button.
well, better way to put it. Tell us what happens next.
Sure. I continue. Like I said, I'm free from that incident. I think it was like 6 months, I'm going to say a year later, the gentleman comes back and to my job.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't do this.
The man.
Thank you. I can't allow you to say gentleman.
I know. I'm so proper these days. This man, there you go.
Asshole.
This man comes back into my life, back into my life, but shows up at my job and actually proposes to me.
Wow.
And I said,
gall.
Yeah, and he had a restraining order at this time. I took those proper protocols. So I told him he needed to leave. He left, didn't see or hear from him again. Then about 6 months later, he got in contact with me. This was before cell phones, or that I didn't have one at the time, that he had a brain tumor. And he wanted to apologize about everything that he did to me. I accepted his apology.
Wow.
Ran into him, pulled up next to him to a red light. A couple months.
Are you in Florida?
Yes, still
Okay.
in Florida. A couple months later, and I looked over and I saw him, and I ran the red light.
Oh, wow.
Never saw that man again. Don't know what happened to him or anything.
It's gone.
Gone.
He comes back. He apologizes. He says that he has a tumor,
Brain tumor.
brain tumor, and then he proposes to you, or
No,
attempts
proposed prior to the brain tumor.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you run into him at the red light.
Yes. And I didn't say hi. We both looked at each other and saw each other, and I was like, oh, shit. And I literally...
What a moment.
Yeah, I ran the red light. I didn't care if cars hit me or not. I was getting away from that.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack there.
Man, what's the body's response when you pull up at the red light and you look to your left or right and like, oh my gosh. Like,
oh shit, and floor. Like, I don't care. All safety. I would have ran my car into him if he would have tried and come. That's my reaction. I was like, this man will never be close to me again.
I want to give this opportunity. I want to create this opportunity for you to give to the people, like when you, because we're going to talk about this here in a little bit, but like when you come face to face with your abuser for the first time after quote unquote recovery, like what advice are you giving to them?
Well, I mean, obviously, being an abusive, an abusive relationship, you want to hurt that person, but there's repercussions for that. So you can't hurt that person. And that's the reason why I ran away, because I know I had so much anger inside of me towards him that I probably would have killed him with my car. So that is not the proper way to go. I would say that it depends on where you're at in the healing process of this. Recently after, you might be scared and not want to face this person. To me, I don't think facing the person is really needed to have closure to it. I think that
because a lot of people, and I don't want to like mess this up, but like psychiatrists or psychologists will tell you need to face
that person.
Yeah, you need to face them.
I was trained by a psychiatrist for my coaching, and no. There's ways that you can go about this, doing it with a healthy way where you never have to see that person and face them face to face. So face to face, what is that going to do? That's going to bring all the traumas and the triggers to me, and that's going to just put me on the cycle of spiraling downhill.
Right back in
and I'm going to
headspace.
have to start back over. There's other ways that you can heal that dynamic in a healthy way without having to see your abuser.
So, first of all, big shout out to you.
Thank you.
You come out of this second, I'm going to say the second because your father was the first, right? The second abusive relationship. Let's talk about the process of healing. Okay. What does that look like? I'm imagining your mid-20s at this point?
No, I didn't start my healing until I was older.
Well, you got beyond that relationship.
Sure, yes, of
right?
course.
And then you go into another relationship.
I did. I got married.
Oh. Okay.
I actually married a man. It surprised me.
We didn't know that.
All right.
Yes, I got married to a man that it was amazing. And right when you say your vows, it was like Mr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And we had a business together. He was a doctor. I was, getting my degree. I put myself through college, getting my nursing degree. And it was interesting how, boom, this man was like, he would throw his wedding ring at me. You have to prove yourself to me. You have to do this. You have to do that. I'm not taking care of you. Nothing. So go ahead.
You certainly have a type.
Obviously, like I said,
I was wrong about the first type off air though. Y'all won't get that at home.
So he was a Christian man, and we went to church together and all that stuff, and that was very interesting because he filed for divorce, and I don't even remember why he filed for divorce. I tried to get rid of that, but all I remember is once we sold our house, he says, "I'm moving out to this place. You have a week to figure out where you're going to go, and here's a mattress."
Good
so
Lord.
I lived in our house on a mattress.
Okay, let's back up. We got to catch our visionaries up. So you got out of the second abusive relationship.
Yes.
You put yourself through college and nursing and got your bachelor's degree. Okay. First of all, let's talk about that. Like mentally, how did you rebuild, reconstruct yourself to be able to go through college and put yourself through college? Because that's hard enough on its own. Right? Like, how did you do that?
I was always uber smart growing up, so I knew I had the gifts and talents of that.
Okay.
Sure, the cosmetic industry, that was amazing, but I just wanted more for myself. I've always been interested with science, and my mother was actually a nurse. And I loved the way that she took care of people, so I think that's always been inside of me as the nurturer. So I decided hey, let me go. Maybe I want to get in the medical field. Let's try this, and I just started, and there you go.
It's just 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I worked full time during the day and went to school at night, and there you go.
You have a very unique ability to compartmentalize.
Yeah, I was going to say that is the true. She is the
You have
walking
to.
definition of compartmentalizing things.
Yeah.
But that's all I know. Let's put this in this box for now. Let's focus on this, and this is.
We'll cry about it later on.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Put your big girl panties on, and let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, and I struggle with this, Mo, and you know me. I have that ability too, but I feel like I'm so insensitive to people that aren't in that capacity. But I also understand that there's levels to this, right?
Sure.
And so if you are on that level, you can do it. and I think we're one of the same, Mo as well. But I try to, I guess, conform or try not to make people look at me as insensitive.
Yes.
And so I dumb myself down, if that makes sense, right? Like, so, but I know what that's like to be able to say, well, that's that. And because we all have life, right? And lives. And it's like, okay, well, that happened. Now let's move on. Like it is what it is. But a lot of people, society will teach us or tell us, you got to wallow in that. You got to feel that. You know, like why? And then you start to second guess yourself and think, well, maybe I should be feeling X, Y, and Z. And so I do want to give you a lot of props for being like, okay, that happened. That was shitty. We're moving forward. I'm going to go get this associate's or bachelor's or whatever, right? And I'm going to go be a nurse. So big shout out to you for that.
It also was, it was a compartment, but I'm in survival. I've been in survival mode since I was 15. I have to survive. And so what does that cost? I could turn to prostitution. I could go be a stripper. I could turn to drugs. I could do whatever. That's not who I am.
Well, you could be a high end.
Well, no, thank you. I don't care how much, no, I'm surviving for me, But in reality, I know people that have done that, and that's not who I was. That didn't feel good in my soul. So I'm in survival mode, and I need to do what is best for me, and that's what I had to do at the time. Looking back, is that healthy? No. To compartmentalize, no. But it got me where I am today, and I would not change it.
Yeah, she had that. I'm sure, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Like she had a moment to herself. It's like, okay, what can I do that will help me survive, and that is the most productive at the same time versus, like I said, being a prostitute or going to drugs or whatever. Like, what can I do that is productive that will help me get through to the next step?
Yeah, but I think that's a big thing, right? Because it's so commonplace for young women. 15 years old, adolescents, right? That you're not the only person with this story, right? And but people do tend to go to the other direction, and they do, the dark side, right? And I get it. Like, you got to do what you got to do to survive. I totally get that. But like, I want to give you mad props, like for not going down that route, like that. This podcast is about growth mindset.
Indeed.
Like that in and of itself is the example of what a growth mindset is. Like, you don't look at things as, that's it.
Yeah. I can be the victim and I can play the victim all day, but I'm a victor, and I'm not playing that. I have a story.
And you realize there's nothing to gain from that.
No, what is that going to do? Leave me way back there. I'm not going that way. I'm going this way. And how the hell am I going to go this way if I'm looking that way?
Well, where did that come from? Let's go. Let's start there. Like,
maybe it's just been embedded in me. I don't know. I always strong personality. Knew I had something, just trusted myself, and it wasn't perfect, but hey, let's go. One foot in front of the other, and I'm going to fall back. And I did. I fall back a lot, but I kept on going and going and going. And as I get older and learning, I haven't turned my TV on in over a year. I've been just retraining my brain, everything that you could so deep inside, so I could be the best person, the best vision of myself, not only for myself, but I do want to have a successful relationship. And so I need to be perfect for me so I can put that out there and know what I'm worthy of and receive. So
that's so good.
No TV for a year.
Yeah.
I don't watch news, nothing.
Well, no, I respect that. Like, I don't, Mo, we've talked about this before. I couldn't tell you what's going on in the world because it's so negative.
It is, yeah. I'm all about positive. If it is not positive, it's not coming in here. Energy is amazing to me, and if it's not vibing, you are not accepted into my little dome here.
Protect your peace.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love it. Okay, so you get married.
Yes.
And
he turned out to be a monster too.
Yes.
Was he abusive?
No.
But he
not physically, emotionally.
Emotional
abuse is I would say emotional abuse is worse than physical abuse. You actually can heal from your wounds that are given to you, but your mind is strong.
I respect that. Yeah, for sure. There's PTSD that exists there for sure.
Trauma you have no idea.
Well, there's that saying the most dangerous weapon of an abuser is
the tongue.
Is the mind of the abused.
Mm-hmm.
Like she just said, you can heal from the physical wounds for the most part,
yes.
but when they're abusing when your mind is not there, that's when it's really, really dangerous.
Yeah. So third abusive relationship.
Yes.
Now let's continue to press the ball forward.
Sure.
All right. So now what happens?
So obviously I'm sleeping on a mattress for a week, and I was like, okay.
Where?
And
At the house.
At the house.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we sold the house, and the new people were moving in. So I said, well, what the hell am I going to do now?
Right.
So here we go. I just, graduated school, working in the business that we had, just starting to get my grounds, everything. I moved in with somebody. I rented a room, and I just built myself.
Okay. Let me pause for some clarity.
Sure.
You and your husband or ex-husband had a business together.
Yeah, we're business partners.
You were business partners
of urgent care,
and then he kicks you out.
and I still work there.
And you still go to work with your now ex.
So you see him every day.
He still worked in the hospital and would come to the urgent care every now and then, but I would still see him.
Oh wow.
Godly. I don't even know the questions, Mo. Like, this is just
the
vortex that we're in.
What's the word? The gall and audacity
Yes.
to be like, okay.
But nobody knew. Like I was always the protector of the people. Like I never want people that hurt me I would never wanted to hurt them. So nobody knew to the extent of what he had done.
My jaw is on the floor right now.
It's one thing I still struggle with.
So your ex, or what, I don't know if the divorce had finalized
Not
by this
yet,
point,
no.
but you're going to work in the business that you and your husband have created, and he's had you sleep on the mattress, and you're protecting him.
Of course.
I gotta know, psychology wise, like talk to me.
Likewise, I just am an empath, and I don't want to hurt people.
The empath.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want
Like,
anybody hurt. I would
it's-
rather take the pain
There it
and the
is.
hurt from somebody.
I'll take
than-
all of it before I let somebody else feel it.
Yeah, to suffer, to feel what I feel. Nobody should experience what I'm feeling.
Can you break that down?
How do you mean?
Like, for someone that doesn't know what an empath is, right? The fact that you're willing to absorb and feel all the pain, the hurt, the trauma, the abuse, to protect those that you care about. Can you talk about that?
I'm just kind of learning what the definition of the empath was. I didn't understand, but to me, I'm strong and I've been through hell and back. I can take this and I can handle this. I don't know if that person can. So I'm a fucking warrior.
Okay.
This person may not be a warrior. So I can fight and go through this shit and take it on. That person may not be able to. So I'm fucking swords. Let's go.
I'm gonna take it before somebody else has to.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go. Let's do this.
Powerful. I got to pause, bro. Like, that's
The mind
crazy.
is the mind is. I mean, as you know, like I'm reading and it's history and all that stuff, and there's a lot of things throughout like the annals of history, and they'll tell you like the most powerful weapon of a warrior is their mind.
Yep.
It's not your physical; it's their mind. And she's unfortunately had to have experience in regards to like, okay, I'm taking blows, and my ribs are getting broken, getting hit in the face, but somewhere in there, she realized I can't let my mind break.
No,
Yeah.
the
I
mind
can't
cannot
do
break.
that.
You can have my body.
Yep,
but
you
you'll
can do
never have
whatever
my
you want
mind.
to that because that will heal. But my
Yes.
mind, you are not taking over.
Exactly, 1,000%. So it's somewhere in there when she was going through all this, she had enough resolve to not crack from a mental standpoint, and that's how she got through.
That's how I survived.
I want to take this time, and Mo, I never bring my phone out during a podcast, but domestic violence. Obviously, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we're just shining a light on it, right? So, if you find yourself in a domestic violence situation and you are a victim, I want to make sure that you guys understand that there is help that is available to you. You can call 800-799-7233. That's 800-799-7233. Or you can text 88788. I'll repeat that again, 88788. It's nothing to play with. I think that it's important for everybody to understand that you have value, and you have value in this world, and no one has the right to physically harm or mentally harm or abuse you. Seek the help that you need. Obviously, Mo, myself, we're not professionals. Again, we're just simply trying to shine a light on something that is horrendous and something that is disgusting, something that we don't believe in. And so we do want to say big shout out to Kristy for jumping into the lab with us. And we're going to continue this, but I did want to take the opportunity for everybody to get those numbers to seek the help that you need. Okay, so as we move forward, so what happens next?
So I continue to build myself again and become. I blocked so much of it out. Become a woman, I will say. I went out in the dating world.
How do you trust again? How are you able to even consider?
Very hesitant, but I did trust. If I don't trust somebody, then I'm just holding myself back.
That sounds great. That sounds great, like language. That's great, vernacular, all that, right? But like, come on, give me the emotional.
Very open and honest about my situations and what has happened to me. With anybody, I did date. I didn't let somebody get so close to me for a very long time. Just put it that way. I really focused on myself. I traveled the world. I went on vacations with girlfriends. I just kind of did all in depth of me. I have to worry about me now, and that's it.
This is gonna sound kind of what's the word? Trite. It's gonna sound kind of trite. But she's coming through all that, and she said, she would be very open and honest about her history and her past with people she was dating. And you tell me if I'm wrong. She kind of probably at a space where, well, what do I got to lose by telling anybody the truth? I might as well tell them what it is right now, so that way they know up front. Like I've already been through hell twice.
That's who I am.
What do I have to lose?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a
What do I have
protective
to lose?
mechanism. Like, listen, I'm letting you know up
I'm
front
telling you what it is right now.
because you're not getting this close to me.
Yeah. So that's why she
It
could
could have
afford
been
to
a
be that open and
protective,
honest.
yeah. Or either that, or just this is what I've gone through. Maybe if I react certain ways, or certain stuff like that. This is the reason why.
You're putting them on notice.
Yeah,
Like,
notice
I'm
that.
sure I've already been through hell 2 or 3 times. What do I have to lose by telling this person the absolute truth up front?
Well, we're about to find that out.
Indeed.
So again, big kudos to you. So you put yourself out there. You're traveling the world. You've got girlfriends that are supportive and that you're able to kind of rebuild yourself in or within. And then you find somebody else.
Yes. I dived into church, actually,
Amen.
very much so.
Amen.
Self-help, what at the time was there. I met somebody else. My second marriage.
Kristy, you've been holding back. I didn't know you were married twice.
First one was a trial one. It didn't work out so well.
You have lived a life.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, when your time is up, you can say I lived.
Yes, exactly. I'm tapped out. So second marriage, I met him. He was from New York. He was in Florida. I lived in Florida.
Of course he was.
Yeah, and there you go. So I dated him and moved to New York. And again, I was actually going to continue and get my master's degree in medicine. I was going to be an NP. And that did not play out so well because I was told that I was not allowed to go to school.
Oh, okay.
I was not allowed to finish my education, and I was not allowed to work. So, okay, well, I'm not allowed to work. Your typical Italian macho man,
Okay.
I be at home, do this. So, I lived with him prior to getting married, obviously, and then we got married. Then he did not physically abuse me, but emotionally. I found women's pictures on his phone, and he was ordering prostitutions off of Craigslist.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, back in the Craigslist era.
Wow.
As you laugh, but yeah.
Shout out to Adam.
Yeah. So that to me was a big, oh no. And actually at that time that I found that I was pregnant. I did a pregnancy test and I was pregnant. I lost the baby.
Sorry to hear that.
Unfortunately, but thankful. God has a purpose and a reason. And then I also found out I had the BRCA gene for breast cancer at the same time.
Okay.
So, okay, well, what do we do? So my mother passed away when I was 21. from cancer. My grandmother, the same thing. So, and then I'm married, and this is going on, and oh my God,
It's a tornado.
Yeah. So I decided I'm going to do the preventative surgery. So I decided I'm going to
Mastectomy.
double mastectomy.
You went the full route.
I went the full route.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I knew, because being a nurse, I knew, every 3 months radiation, you have to get tests and stuff like that for the rest of my life. No, thank you. Plastics is amazing now. Let's just do it. So I decided to do that. When I did my first procedure, it was an 8-hour surgery. My husband at the time dropped me off at the hospital and did not go back with me.
Pause. I knew you were going to say that. I have a very close friend of mine. She dealt with lupus.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, 2006, 7, 5, somewhere in there, right? And her husband took her to the hospital and never came back. So I'm curious, because I want to hear from you, when you're in that moment, like this is, like abuse is terrible, okay? Emotional, physical, we understand that that's terrible. And now you're dealing with what's, cancer, like a life-threatening situation. And the person that you said, or the person that said that they would be there for you for everything, for sickness or health, right? Leaves. Like, I gotta know, where are you mentally?
I went into my happy place. I just had to. I know because I worked in the OR, so I know going into surgery, your mindset has to be right on, because you're going to come out better that way and you'll heal faster. So that's where I went. I just said, okay, I got this. Let's go. And, I knew everything that was going on. So I just talked to the doctors and stuff like that. And, and went there. And I went to my happy place, which is the beach. Counted down. Okay, I'm there. I'm dreaming. Let's go. And I came out, and there you go.
This is the walking epitome of, like, the mind is stronger than anything you can possibly put together. Like it's we talk about having a growth mindset. Like, this is the epitome of it. Like, no matter what you throw at me, life, like, I refuse to break.
Yes.
No matter what, I refuse to break.
That's
Abuse relationship, I refuse to fold. Abuse relationship number 2, I refuse to fold. Abuse relationship number 3, I refuse to fold. The cancer gene, like, I refuse to quit. It's hard to beat somebody who won't quit.
That's a fantastic point, Mom.
That was great.
How do you keep getting up off the mat? I.e. Rocky. How are you, Rocky?
It's honestly, it's my mindset. Like, I just lift myself up. I'm sure I'm tired and I'm beat down or anything, but who's gonna get up and take care of me? So my mind has to be strong. So I literally came out of my surgery, and I remember throwing up, allergic to the medicine they gave me, whatever. He picked me up, dropped me off, and left me. I went back to work.
He picked you up from the hospital?
Yes.
Okay.
Dropped me off at home, and post anesthesia, you're not supposed to be alone anyways.
I was going to say, he didn't even care about the aftercare procedure, like keeping an eye on him when the anesthesia wears off. Like,
here
he's
you go,
like,
you're
I'm out.
in bed, you're done. You're I'm leaving.
This is such a struggle for me, because I've had knee surgery, right? And I know what it's like to come out of anesthesia. First of all, it's amazing. Okay, let me tell you that right now. But when you get home, like, and this is just knee surgery. Nothing is traumatic as what you experience. So I'm certainly not trying to diminish that. But, like, I know I needed
help.
Yeah, like, and at the time, I mean, I had stairs, I had a apartment and everything, and I couldn't do anything, and this was in college, so I would have girls come by, help me out, do laundry and help me go do this and that or whatever. And so I'm only imagining what you had to go through, but you had to do it by yourself?
Yes, by myself.
Insane. Absolutely insane.
But I did it.
No, yeah, you did. And I mean, that just speaks to, like, how resolute you are, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, then 3 months later, so I've been going through this reconstructive surgery for about 6 years. I did my last surgery it's a year and a half ago. And so 3 months later, when I was going to do the exchange of the expanders and stuff, he did not take off work again. So I said, clearly our marriage is over. After this surgery, I want a divorce. I actually asked for a divorce.
What did he say?
of course, didn't believe me at the time. And was in denial. Then he was worried about me taking half of his money and all the, all pensions and all that stuff. And I said, I don't want anything from you. I just want my last name back.
Yep.
And that's all. I didn't marry you for that stuff. I married you as a partner. So I went through the surgery, and then sure enough, I
filed and was out of there.
I was out of there.
The only thing that I can think of, Mo, is like, how are you still here? How are you still standing?
Because she's got a greater purpose, clearly.
Yeah.
Obviously, God has a purpose for
Amen.
me, and
Amen.
I'm tapping into it, which is amazing.
Let's go. Let's go.
And then I basically
Hit the reset button again.
yes,
This is number 4.
yes. Then I met this man who I thought was my soulmate, my twin flame. Yeah, that was a hot fucking mess.
Okay.
7 years I take that back. I was with him for 7 years. 3 years was absolutely beautiful. This is amazing. Like, oh my God, I hit the jackpot. This man is respectful. I was a queen. I mean, I was corporate wife. I was, you name it. And then, freaking moved to Texas and shit hit the fan. And looking back, I saw all the signs now, but I didn't see the signs at the time, or I wanted to make excuses. The red flags, we'll say, that everybody says.
Fucking red flags.
Yeah, and then red flags. I'm telling you, women's intuition. Pay attention. That's all I can say. Pay attention to those red flags. So yes.
I'm curious.
Well, hold on. Okay, go ahead.
I'm curious. So like we said earlier, you've lived a life. Do you have a moment where it's just you by yourself in your place?
All the time now.
Kristy, like, hey girl, what are you doing? Why do you keep picking these like and what does that look like?
So obviously I tapped into when I actually started seeing a counselor. And that's when I noticed there's a cycle. What is this cycle and what does it entail? This abandonment, not feeling worthy. So I knew that there was something repetitive cycle that was going on. That's when I started my healing work, when I tapped into that. And that's kind of when my life changed, but went to shit first, because you're tapping into all this stuff. So the darkness is all coming to light. Yeah. So I started seeing a counselor. She did a lot of inner healing, child work with me, a lot of reticular activated system, rewiring your brain, traumas, triggers, the healthy way of approaching your abusers and even my father. I had to deal with my mother, even though she wasn't here. So there's healthy ways. So I saw her for, 3 years.
It's reprogramming.
Yeah, reprogramming. You're literally, even though my mind was powerful, there's still triggers. There's reactive. You're going to react on certain things.
You got to rewire everything.
Everything. So I started tapping into that. Why I was still with this gentleman. He was, go ahead. This man.
Thank you.
This man. Why I was still with him. He actually was going with me to see this counselor. She calls it's called Imago. Basically, you're healing partners, where I'm going to tap into your inner child, you're going to tap into mine, and we're going to heal each other, because that makes a power couple. I agreed to do it. He agreed, but did not do the work. I constantly did the work, but obviously me doing the work, we outgrew each other. Even though we outgrew each other, he was abusive mentally. So he would kick me out. I've moved 7 times since I've been in Texas because of him moving me out, moving me back in, moving me out, moving back in. Again, I quit my job.
But you're doing the work during all of this, right?
Yep. But I'm doing the work because I'm committed that this is my healing partner, and I'm not going to repeat those cycles anymore. I'm going to do this and stick with it. Even though I wasn't married to him, I was married to him in my heart. So
this is a new guy?
This is the guy I've been with for 7 years, that I was with 7 years.
So this is after New York?
After
the breast cancer.
Reset number 4.
Yeah, this is reset again.
I'm getting lost.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. So, I mean, long-term relationships, but shitty ones, in a sense. So, like I said, this is the cycle. So this is where all this darkness comes up. And, I mean, it's like you're digging yourself a hole, and the counselor's just filling it with water. You have to trust her, because she's going to bring you to the surface. You're going to float, but you have to trust to understand. So I took off scales. I took off, you name it. I mean, just shed my armor of everything that I had, and I rewired myself and retrained myself. And the whole time going through all this abuse with this man. So again, moving me out, moving me back in, moving me out, moving back in, slaughtered my name. I mean, just.
What does that mean?
Oh, I mean, he would tell stories that I abused him. You name it. I cheated on him. And I never cheated on him. I've been cheated on. I would never cheat on him. Just anything to knock me down. And my circle was so against me that I felt
alone,
and like, I'm not that person, and you question everything that you are. And I loved this man unconditionally, and I protected him. Again, even coming here tonight, I can't do this. I have to protect him. And I said, fuck that. No, I don't. I don't have to protect. I won't say his name.
Yeah, no, we're not going to ask you.
Yeah, but I'm not protecting anybody. This is my story, and I'm meant to tell this story. So going through all of that, oh my God, again, controlling me with money. So he would give me a credit card, turn my credit card off when I'd go to pay for Starbucks or gas or groceries or anything. Completely abandoned me because he wanted me to quit my job and be corporate wife, even though not wife. So he controlled me with the finances. And you're probably going to ask, why did I stay? I had a lifestyle that I wasn't used to. I was financially taken care of, and I didn't know how to get back to where I was. I was lost.
Well, I firmly believe that every woman wants to be provided for and protected.
In a safe way, though.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I only speak above board, right? So, like, provided for and protected. And so it's not outside of the realm of comprehension.
Oh, yeah.
That you finally got this dude that is successful in the corporate world, and he's providing for you, he's protecting you, at least from a financial perspective. So I get that.
Yes.
I get that.
And he did protect me at first from other dynamics, but then it was, no, you're not protecting me at all. You're actually abandoning me, and you're manipulating me, and you're using my weaknesses from going to counseling and sharing those in-depth things and my traumas against me. So he used everything that I tapped in and told him, just like I told you, obviously we tapped in a little bit deeper. He would use that against me.
you weaponized it.
Yes.
Wow.
So that was his ammo against me to break me down.
So, what a life. What a life. And kudos to you for still standing. So, obviously, you get out of that relationship.
Yes.
I'm afraid to ask.
No, hell no. I've been single for a long time.
I was going to say, clearly, like, I'm sure at some point you just say, you know what, Kristy, I'm just going to be by myself for a little bit.
Yes.
And just going to work some things out. So we get to present day. And
Well, hold on. Is there anything else?
Well, basically, you know, there was a recycle, we'll say, from the last one. I got an email when I was vacationing with my friends that my stuff.
This is recent.
Last year.
Okay.
September of last year.
Okay.
Yeah, so a year. Crazy. That my stuff was packed up and moved out. An apartment was rented for me, and there's a mattress there. And that obviously was a trigger to me for me. But thankfully, I've done the work that it didn't trigger me back to where I was before.
Mattress number 2.
Yes, mattress number 2, and living, you know, okay, we got to do this.
So to bridge the gap, you're doing your thing, and your now ex says, hey, I moved you out, and you got a mattress. And this is the second time that this has happened.
Yes, with the mattress scenario.
Yeah.
Yes. So I actually started building my career prior to all of this, and that's the reason why he broke up with me, is he did not believe in me and did not want his name attached to me when shit hit the fan, is exactly what he said to me.
Oh.
So I was on a podcast. Somebody reached out to me, and I was on a podcast, and that's when he said he didn't believe in me and didn't want his name to be attached to me. So I need to go.
Does he know that all this is public record? Okay.
So we get
Smart guy.
We get to present day now.
Yes.
You're the VP of an oil and gas company.
Yes.
Certified life coach.
Yes.
Got your own podcast.
Yes.
What's your advice to women, to the woman who's currently in an abusive relationship, whether it's physical or mental? What's your advice to them? Because if there's anybody who can give somebody advice on this, it's you.
Yeah, and I would ask that you look into your camera and you talk to these women right now.
Obviously, first is seek help. You need to get out of the situation. I will personally offer my coaching, whatever, to anybody that needs help. Because I have been there and I can guide you and help you. And I have the amazing community around me that can help you get to the next level. That's the advice that I can get. We have to lock arms and do this together. You can't do it alone. You need the proper support team.
I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm only speculating at this particular point, but the vulnerability that you have to put yourself in is it triggers from the vulnerability that you experience in being in the abusive relationship. So there's got to be that hurdle, that one hurdle that individual has to get over, in order to really start to seek healing.
There's many hurdles. It's not just one.
That's like the initial one, right? Like I gotta put myself out there.
Yeah, you gotta separate from that, and then you gotta put yourself out there. And my whole philosophy and my whole life's purpose for me is, if I let all of this control me, I will never be successful and live my purpose. And I choose to not live through the mind, even though it's strong, through the heart space. And my heart space is pure because that's Jesus. And Jesus is 100% pure love. And if I can separate this, because the mind is what fucks us up, because what we're taught, and live through the heart, you will skyrocket to where you need to be.
Heart space. Mm-hmm. I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. So here's the amazing part of the story. Like we just went probably outside of we had him on our show.
About domestic violence?
No, the gentleman that lost 4 people.
Oh, Jay
Green. Tony Green.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of the deepest shows that we've gone into in terms of the depth that you've had to come out of and overcome and endure. Like, those 2 stories for me, just kind of off the top of the dome, like, that resonates so well. And so I want to get to the glorious part, right? Because this isn't a sad story.
No.
I mean, you're absolute
triumph.
Yeah, 100%. And you're stunning. You've got a great business, and so I do want to kind of tap into that, right? Like how you're able to actually move through life now and be successful. Like you're a VP of an oil and gas company. Yeah. So how the fuck did that happen?
Well, I was on his name is Jeff Curley. I was on his podcast.
Oh, we had Jeff on the show.
I love Jeff.
Yes.
Yeah. So I record at his studio.
Shout out to Jeff.
Yes. So basically, a gentleman reached out to me on LinkedIn because he saw my podcast for coaching. I went on his podcast. We talked about life coaching, and then we just kind of clicked like this. And next thing you know, I'm going to pro boning, going on his podcast and co-hosting and going to events with him. And then I said, listen, my time is precious. Mm-hmm. And I have my coaching business. And if you want me to do this, then we need to make a deal. And so we made a deal, and he asked me to be the VP of the company and be the co-host of the podcast. And it's been just booming.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Congratulations
Thank
to you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You were
God
a
is
testament
good.
to a more than a survivor mindset. You were a testament to having a growth mindset and never giving in. We've taught people of every walk of life you can imagine on this show. And one of the common threads is it's just a refusal to break. It's a refusal to give in. Like I refuse to quit. Like it's never say die. And you literally have been there. Mm-hmm. And so kudos to you for I'm not even gonna say sticking to it.
Enduring.
Enduring. Kudos to you for enduring and just outlasting everything that you've been through.
Thank you.
No problem.
So to the visionary that's still skeptical, and they're saying, because you talked about this before, and I did want to come back to this, and so there was a cycle that was repeated.
Yes.
Have you been able to identify like why you kept going back to the same type of man?
Oh, yeah. I identify it. I tapped into it. I've learned it. I understand it's there, and I will never redo it again.
And so what was that like? Like why did you go back to that same type of individual?
Because that's all I knew.
It's a
Abandonment.
point of reference.
You're abandoned. No, you're not abandoned. I chose people that would abandon me or hurt me.
But how do you know that?
Well, I didn't know it until I started counseling, obviously.
So help our visionaries, right? Like to help the females, and I'll even say the male.
Well, you
the
have
men.
to take a look at your history. What is your history? If you're constantly choosing the same man or the same routine, it's not, who's the common denominator?
You.
Me.
Yeah.
So I was making the choices. Sure, those people were not. I'm not excusing the way I was treated by any means, but I was the common denominator. So I have to look at myself in the mirror and say, what is it about you that you're choosing this?
So
and that was a huge, huge lesson.
How do you not repeat that?
Going through all the shit. Like I said, digging, learning, understanding, healing, peeling the onions. Why was I choosing this? Well, because I was abandoned. So I need to go and heal that. Well, there's ways that you can heal that. There's, NFT tapping, meditation. NFT tapping is powerful.
What is that?
So basically you tap on certain areas of your life, and so on your body, and it reprograms, it takes your mind instead of like breath work, because you can't really go to meditation when you're in a business meeting and you're getting triggered, so you're just tapping. So with my ex, this last one, I would tap a lot because I would take it's your inner child, your little girl, and say, it's okay, I got you, because that's what you're struggling with is your inner child, your little girl. You're going back in there, your subconscious mind is going back into that phase of me being a 15-year little girl, being abandoned. So I would tap myself, and that would keep me calm. And it's still to this day, sometimes if I'm triggered, I'll just tap myself. I got you, Kristy, let's go. My little Kristy, you're not going to speak to you would never speak to your daughter mean or anything if you were to see a picture or to her. So you have to envision yourself as a little girl or a little boy, and let's go. We got this, and it's very interesting.
No,
the whole concept of that. That's the reason why I decided to get training from her.
And it's called NFT.
NFT tapping, yes.
NFT tapping. Okay.
You can find on YouTube. There's ways to do it. NFT tapping.
So now, moving forward, how do you trust again? Do you still believe in love?
Oh yeah, my necklace says love.
Amen. Amen.
I believe in love. I believe that I had to get to a space in my life where I could actually be that healthy version of myself. And if I'm not healthy, then I can't be. And I have gone on dates, but no, I'm not ready yet.
So
I know.
Do you see? Okay, so that's something else I was going to ask you. Is like when you're on dates, like do you see a red flag or do you see something in them that triggers you?
And not even a trigger. It's just like, that's love bombing. What is love bombing? That's what happened to me before. That's love bombing. No, you want to travel the world with me and you just met me, or you want to marry me. No, that's love bombing. So narcissist, love bombing, certain things. And if this is not feeling good, I'm not going to move forward with it. So I trust this over this. This is going to tell me, that person's going to do this. But it's the energy, the vibe. Wow. I really am in tune with all of that. And I guess being an empath too, I can sense just like this. It's really interesting.
No, it's incredible. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely incredible.
So yes, I believe in love. I actually just said I'm actually ready to start dating now. And I feel that I'm okay with getting out there and seeing what's out there. It's a little different than back then, but yeah. And in the dating world, but
yeah, social media's changed a lot of stuff.
Yes, it has. Dating
Kudos
app.
to you on this guest. This has been amazing.
Well, again,
on multiple levels.
I've got to shout out Will Harris, the Hustle Marketing and Design, and the Hustle Foundation. Obviously, he's been a guest on the show a couple of different times, and so big shout out to him for even like saying, "Hey, look, I think I found somebody that would be, great for the podcast. And so big shout out to him for that. Now you're doing some amazing work right now.
Yes.
You want to talk about some of the things that you're doing?
Basically, I'm obviously traveling all over with my VP in the oil and gas company. We're getting ready to start some retreats. I'm going to speak at a retreat in Costa Rica, which is amazing.
Love
And
Costa Rica.
Yeah, I haven't been, so it's my first time.
Dope.
I'm excited.
Make sure you go.
You'll
Make sure you
enjoy
go. Make sure you go ziplining.
I'm going.
Yeah.
It's one of the because
I
it's like a
honeymooned in
team
Costa
building
Rica.
thing.
It's awesome.
What,
Really?
what part of Costa Rica?
I don't know. It's,
Okay.
it was just
So,
finalized.
and I can't remember where I went either, but there is a like Costa Rica is very mountainous, and so you go up into a mountain, and then there's just like a luge, and you slide down it, and it's made out of clay, and the way that the clay or the mud or whatever is like down there, like it stays slick.
Okay.
And I think they've been doing it for well over 1,000 years or
Okay.
something like that. It's super dope. And so, you go down this luge and you just like, it's a water slide, right? And it's, I mean, you're gonna get up to like 60 miles an hour, and
That's
it's
amazing.
super dope. Now, your water's gonna go
That's okay.
in other places, you know what I mean? But it's super dope, and it's like, I want to say it's like almost 3/4 of a mile or something
Okay.
like that. Yeah,
I will
It's dope.
definitely try that then. Yeah, I'm obviously an adrenaline rushy, so, junkie. So here you go.
Yeah,
But yeah, just doing that stuff and tapping into obviously helping women, understanding that it's not the end of the game.
yeah.
There's so much more to.
We would be remiss if we didn't give you the opportunity. And by the way, visionaries, if you're still plugged in and tuned into the show, thank you for your love and your support. And obviously with Kristy's story, how can our visionaries get a hold of you, through social media or what have you?
I have Instagram. I'm really not active on it, but LinkedIn.
Okay.
Basically, yeah, Kristy Kerns at LinkedIn.
So Kristy with a K or a C? Just say.
Kristy.
Gotcha. Well, Cuff, thank you again.
Incredible.
Yeah, this is a heck of a way to start off domestic violence.
Yes.
So, Kristy, we have reached the part of the show where we call it landing the plane. We ask the same question to every guest that's been on the show, and I can't wait to hear your answer. There is an imaginary round table. You're at the table, and there are 5 other seats. Dead or alive, you can have whoever you want at your table. The only stipulation is that you can't have God or Jesus, whatever religious entity you believe in, at that table. Outside of that, who do you want at your table?
My best friend Vicky, her husband Bill, Will
Well, who?
Harris,
That's 3 already. That's a quick 3. You got 2 more.
Dr.
Fuck Will.
Nisi, and my pastor.
Gotcha. Okay.
That 5?
It's 5.
Okay. Again, tremendously honored for you to share your story, to be so unencumbered, authentic, transparent, and real. And I know it's hard, and I do have to believe that there's some therapeutic device that's activated when talking about your story.
Sure.
And what people don't realize is this is the first time that you've actually put
Shared
it all out
publicly,
there.
yes.
Yeah, for sure. So I just want to say thank you so much for doing that. Like that's a big deal, and I hope that this continues to heal you on your healing journey, because it's such an incredible story. I think that everything that you've endured, everything that you've had to go through, you're still here, you're still standing. But not only are you standing,
You're thriving.
you're fucking winning.
Thank you.
And I really want to tip my hat off to you,
Thank you.
for sure. And so, as we land the plane, we always ask our guests these questions. What advice would Kristy Kerns be giving herself from 5 years ago? So 5 years past, who you are today, what advice are you giving that younger version of yourself?
Ride the wave, girlfriend, because you got bigger places to go.
Love it. Love it. Now that's typically kind of the easier side, the A side, if you will. Now we're going to flip it to the B side.
Sure.
So 5 years from now, what advice is Kristy Kerns giving herself today?
Trust the process.
Trust the process.
You have I have my fingerprint for a reason. And it's my fingerprint, and I'm here for some kind of purpose, and I'm trusting that downloads are coming, and my 5 years, shit's going to happen.
Amen. Amen. And lastly, what is the long-term vision for Kristy Kerns?
I want to leave a legacy. I don't have children or family, so I want to leave a legacy to the people that mean it. I don't know who that is yet, but that my legacy is going to be so powerful that it's going to change people's lives.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Final question of today's episode. And again, thank you so much. If you were a book, what would be the title of your book?
Inner child work.
Well, that's good.
She's done the work. I love it.
She's done the work. And there was no hesitation.
No,
there was
it
no
was ready.
no pregnant pause
Don't
or
fix
anything.
that. You're not going anywhere.
Love
People
it.
don't understand that.
Love it. Kristy, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
jumping into the lab with us. We absolutely are just treasured with this opportunity. Visionaries, we hope that you have been just immensely rewarded and enriched with today's episode. As we kick off Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I do want to give you guys that number one more time. In the event that you are struggling or dealing with it, be sure that you need to know that help is available. And again, that number for the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 800-799-7233. That's 800-799-7233. Or if you want to start a text chat, you can text 88788. That's 88788. We wish you, if you are dealing with domestic violence and you are a victim right now, we pray for you. We wish you the best. Make sure you seek out the help. This has just been an absolutely incredible interview. One that probably will leave an indelible mark within me, for sure.
Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Mosley. He is Ryan Cuffey. Thank you to Will Harris of the Hustle Marketing Design Company. Thank you to our guest, Kristy Kerns. Thank you for being so open. And we will see you guys next week on another great episode of the Vision Lab podcast.
Blessings.